Push the blue button. I need help. I'm going to tell you what happened to me exactly as I remember it. And if any of it sounds familiar, if you know anything, please, please tell me. They can't get away with this. 4 weeks ago, I got in this huge fight with my girlfriend, the big one, the one where she decides it's over. I didn't blame her. I don't know how she put up with me for as long as she did. You know the situation. She went to work every day to one of her 2 jobs, brought home the groceries, did the laundry and the dishes, paid all the bills. Me? I sat on my ass playing games and sending one half-hearted job application out at a time. I promised her things would change. They didn't. The ironic justice of cruel mistress fate and shit. I got a job offer an hour after she left to start that night. These people didn't even interview me. They took one look at my crappy resume and decided, this is the a-hole for us. Totally not a red flag, right? But I only had June on my mind. It wasn't too late. I knew if I could show her that I wasn't a complete loser, that I did care, she'd take me back. I did it, I texted her. I got a job. Can you drive me? She had our only car. Her car. I'm glad for you, she texted back. Show me you can do this, Greg. Find the bus route. Get there on time. Cash your first paycheck. Then we can talk. So you're saying there's a chance? I can do that. It's clear instruction. I do well with clear instruction. I looked up the bus route. It was way out in the industrial area, where the buses didn't even go. I ended up having to walk for 15 minutes, but still got there with time to spare. The building was nondescript, without any signs or lettering. Wasn't clear what it was for. No cars in the gravel parking lot, lots of broken glass, some oil drums, and a blood-spattered tire iron, though it could have been rust. No cars around anywhere. The only thing nearby was an old dive bar, with neon signs still working and everything. While I waited, standing against the wall and reading through Fart to pass the time, I kept looking over at the bar. Nobody was coming or going. The sign said open. Then I saw people standing inside. They weren't moving. It struck me as odd. They were just standing at the windows watching this building. Or me. Gave me the creeps. I put up my phone and went in. Good, you're early, a man with close cropped white hair said. First thing you need to know, this is contract work for the Department of Energy. This is important work. We need someone who is committed to doing this right, following the rules and procedures precisely. Someone who takes to these procedures like his life depended on it. Yes, sir, I said. I'm very motivated. The work is simple, he continued. 2 to 3 times an hour, an alarm here in the main control room will go off. It is absolutely imperative that you press this button, pointing to a big blue button, within 5 minutes of the alarm sounding. You are also expected to keep the area secure, remove trespassers as required, investigate suspicious phenomenon, and walk the perimeter. These duties are secondary to pressing the button, pointing to the big blue button. When you hear that alarm, stop your walk or investigation and get back here as soon as possible. Carry this phone with you at all times. It will beep when the alarm sounds. Range is up to 200 feet from the building. Any questions? That makes sense, I said. It's like some of the games I play, in a way. What if I don't push the button in time? This isn't a game. If you don't push the button within 5 minutes of the alarm sounding, everyone in this building is dead. Aren't I the only one here? I asked. He turned away and punched out. Good night, he muttered on his way. I walked out a little behind him to see where he went. Since I hadn't seen a car, I was curious. When I got out, he was nowhere to be seen. The bar? I looked over. I didn't see him, but more patrons had arrived. Some of them were standing outside now, all still staring at this building. I felt a moment of panic. Why were they doing that? What if they broke in? What could I do? I retreated back into the building, locking the door behind me, and told myself that I gotta relax. As I tried to take a deep, calming breath, my heart jackhammered against my chest, and I was in full panic mode. It was the alarm. The stupid alarm. It was dangerously loud and brain-piercing. I used the adrenaline to run to the control room at record speed and hit the button. The alarm stopped instantly. Now, just seconds before it stopped, I felt sure I heard footsteps echoing down the hall, running in short, fast steps like a kid or kids, little clicking footsteps. Once the alarm stopped, I heard nothing. I stayed stone still for a good minute listening. Nothing. So I figured it had to be an effect of the alarm, like you always hear something when you're in the shower. I tried to relax and play on my phone waiting for the next alarm, but I kept imagining whoever I heard now standing perfectly still, like those weirdos at the bar, just waiting for the alarm to go off again to move. I got up to investigate. I walked slowly, cautiously down the hall, with the unnecessary alarm phone in my hand. I was about halfway to the end when I saw spots on the wall and floor that looked like blood. A sudden loud metallic crash rang from just outside the building. I gasped and looked back. Empty hallway. What was I doing here? I asked myself. Getting June back, I answered. I was now near the end of the hall, where it teased to the left and right. As I neared the corner, I know I heard anxious breathing. Each step I took, the breathing sounded more anxious, not afraid, but anticipating, like some kid waiting to spring a prank. I was about to round the corner when the alarm went off. I actually shrieked this time and ran back. But this time I heard it for sure, fast little feet darting down the hall around that corner. Someone had been waiting just around the corner. I smashed the blue button and waited. Silence now. That was when I realized I didn't have any number to call in case of an emergency. With very limited instruction, I was on my own. I pulled up my big boy pants and went down the hall again. I rounded the T confidently and found no one. I kept going, passing windowless door after windowless door. What did this building actually do? I was starting to think it was all in my head until I saw one of those doors crack open about 1/4 of an inch. I stopped and stared at it, wondering how best to approach. I stared at the crack for probably a full minute before I saw the light gleaming off a little marble in the dark slit. Someone was staring back at me. All my planning and wondering came to an abrupt halt. I just reacted. "Who's there?" I tried to shout, but choked. The door opened and a bald kid ran directly at me. It was so unexpected. I jumped back and hit against the wall. I wasn't sure it was a kid anymore. His skin was weird and leathery. He screamed in my face, "Stop pushing my buttons!" and ran back the way I'd come. As I got up, I thought I heard more anxious breathing from inside the room. The door was a little more open now, but I couldn't see a thing inside. I didn't want to look into that dark anymore. I hurriedly reached out and closed it, pulling my hand away as fast as possible. Gah! The alarm again sent me into full fight or flight. I went running back. Somehow I took a wrong turn and found myself at some stairs going down. An ungodly odor came from below, rotten and burning. I ran back, wondering whether I was in the right hall anymore. How long had passed? Not 5 minutes. I ran until the familiar T was coming close. I was almost there. And then I saw that bald head peeking around the corner. I stopped. He was peeking, but there was no amusement in those slitty eyes. Those were the eyes of a lion waiting for a dumb gazelle. An object flashed in his hand just poking around the corner. He had a knife. Shouldn't I have a gun or something? I had nothing. We locked eyes. I don't think I've ever been more scared in my life. He leapt out with a roar and ran at me again. I didn't know what to do. I had to get to the alarm, and I didn't think I could run away. So when he got close, I kicked as hard as I could. I got him in the face. He turned and ran away, leaving his weapon behind. It was actually a nail file. I started walking towards the T until the alarm changed. Instead of the wailing sound, it was more of a klaxon. I must be down to 1 minute, I thought. I ran this time. Nearing the control room, I saw the front door had been left open, presumably when the boy left. I hit the blue button, then went back to close the door and lock it. Before I got there, I heard breaking bottles. I looked outside. I didn't see the boy anywhere, but the bar patrons were all outdoors now. Nobody was left inside. They were at the edge of the parking lot, looking at this place. I slammed the door behind me and locked it. "Fuck this place and this job," I said, and decided then and there I was leaving. If it was so important to the Department of Energy, they'd have left an emergency contact at least. And I would have left if I hadn't heard what I heard next. From somewhere far down the hallways. "Greg? Help!" Didn't matter how far away it was, I knew that voice. That was my June. "June?" I shouted. She didn't answer. "June, where are you?" Then I heard a scream. I was almost mindless with panic. I didn't understand how any of this could be happening or why. My vision seemed to redden. I felt throbbing in my head as I ran back down the halls shouting for her. What if the breathing I'd heard in that room was her? I wondered. What if I'd shut her in there with someone or something when I could have saved her? Now that the door was closed, I wouldn't know that door from any other. I was running back to that area calling for her when I heard her again. "Greg?" coming from behind me. The staircase, that awful staircase, and that same noxious odor hit me again. "June!" I shouted into the darkness below. "June, are you down there?" I started going down one step at a time. One, because I wasn't sure she was down there, and two, because everything in my being told me nothing good was down there. "June!" I shouted again. I heard what sounded like shuffling below, but no more screams. "June?" I say more softly this time. I'm still taking the stairs slowly. The stench is worse with each step. Red emergency lights, irregularly spaced, are the only lights on this floor. Terror and panic mixed with utter helplessness, because I don't even hear her anymore. "June!" I'm almost to the bottom step when the alarm. It startles me so bad I almost vomit. With the sound deafening me, I feel extremely vulnerable. I run up the stairs, slipping on something slimy as I do. I hear a lot of shuffling sounds from behind me, and other strange sounds I can't even describe. I round the T to the control room, but the control room's doors closed and locked. The bastard didn't even give me any keys. In my state, I don't even care anymore. I try to break the door down, but it's too solid. It won't budge. Even the little window on this door is too thick. Then I remember the tire iron. I'm out the front door in seconds, not thinking of anything else along the way. I grab it and start back. Then I see them. The patrons from the bar have crossed the street. The neon lights of the bar are off. These people all around the building, just watching. Then they start moving. Slowly. They look sick. Something's wrong with them. Some of them are walking towards the front door. I get there first and lock it behind me. The alarm klaxon is getting more frantic, and the glass won't break. I keep hitting it, not knowing what else to do. Finally, on the 10th blow from the tire iron, it shatters. I get in and hit the blue button. The alarm stops. I breathe for a few seconds, listening intently. For June, for sounds outside. I don't hear anything. I call 911 and get put on hold, so I hang up and try June's phone. It rings and rings. Then, finally, I hear it, both terrifying and a relief. The ringtone coming from somewhere in the building. I run towards the sound, to the T, and back to the stairs. "June?" I shout down the stairs. My calls keep going to voicemail, so I start down the stairs again. "June?" I'm at the bottom step, feeling like a coward for moving so slow, when... Gah! It's not the alarm this time. My phone's ringing. June's calling me. I answer. "June?" Greg, listen to me. I'm not here. What? Where are you? It's not me. Goodbye. She hung up. I could only get voicemail after that. I stepped into the red-lit hall. Every step, I felt like someone was standing against the wall, just inches from me. I didn't dare look. I kept looking straight ahead. I even stopped shouting for June. How long did this hall go? I wasn't even seeing doors. I finally heard something. It wasn't just shuffling this time. Footsteps. I stood as still as possible, scared to make any noise. They were coming down the stairs. I knew what it had to be. The people from the bar. They were in. It's like they knew where I'd be. They were coming for me. I started running. I didn't care if I made noise. They knew where I was anyway. I didn't look back. It felt like they were just a few feet behind me, but that couldn't be true. The smell was worse the farther I went. I sometimes heard shuffling beside me. I hoped it was just rats. Then I saw a door to my left. Finally. I looked inside, hoping for an exit or a safe place. The only thing inside was June's phone on the floor. I picked it up. There was a spot of blood on it. "What the fuck is wrong with you people?" I shouted to no one in particular. "Why?" The answer? The alarm. I came out of the room. I couldn't see anyone down the hall. It was too dark. But there was no way I was going back there. So I kept going deeper into the building until I came to some slimy, crumbling stone steps. They led up and down. Down was even darker and viler. Up went directly to a leaden door. I pushed it open and felt the cool night air blow in. It was an exit. Thank God. I went around the building. The parking lot was clear. I didn't wait around. I took off jogging down the street toward the bus stop. I'd missed the last bus, but anywhere was better than here. I completely forgot I had the alarm phone with me. Either I was out of range or the 5 minutes were up. I went to the police as soon as I was able. Told them everything. I tried to keep from sounding hysterical, but I think I failed. They took June's phone and the alarm phone as evidence. Then they made me wait at the police station while they did a wellness check on June. They couldn't find her. They still can't. She disappeared. No clues on her phone. She was playing on Facebook up until the moment I started calling her phone. It makes no sense. It's like one moment she was at home on her phone and the next she was there, in that place. They checked the building out top to bottom and found nothing. Never found the guard. The place has been abandoned for years. "Looks like there was a pretty bad fire," they said. I thought they had the wrong building at first, but they were right. It's all different in there now. I checked with the Department of Energy. They had no idea what I was talking about. A part of me thought that's what they'd say if they had something to hide. But why? The bar, however, was real, continuously run for 80 years, but the owner said it wasn't even open that night. "But we had a funny character in here around then," he said. "Said a lot of nonsense and wrinkled feathers. Real drunk. He says to me, 'If you'd push the button, I'd be alive now.'" If I believed he was dicking with me, I could have smashed his face in right there. But he was serious, and I wondered how things would have turned out if I had gone back and pushed the button. I still go out there sometimes, sit across the road and watch. Sometimes I take a walk around it, tell myself it's all my fault, but it's not. I just don't know who else to blame. I asked for your help at the start of this. If you have any information that can help me locate June, know anything about this building or incident, please let me know. You can remain anonymous. I just want to bring June home.